You know, networks don't talk about it. Government can't tax it. But sports betting is a $200 billion a year business.
That's a major U.S. Supreme Court ruling that could open the door for legalized sports betting all across the country.
The Supreme Court is giving the green light for states to determine on their own whether they want to legalize sports gambling.
Tell Donahue his next pick is good for 20 grand, but I need him to guarantee a win, okay? I need a lock.
He's not that fucking good.
No, Tommy, he has to. All right, he has to, or else they're going to kill me. Do you realize this, Tommy? They're going to fucking kill me. I can't afford to gamble anymore. I need a fucking lock.
Oh, we're here. We're here. It is college football week 0.5, we're calling it. Welcome on in. It is the Lock Talk stream. My name is Jake O'Kane. Joining me today, my guy above me there, Trevor, a.k.a. Stoolie. Stoolie comes by way of Appleton, just north of me. So a couple of Fox Valley boys on the call tonight. We are sitting here having some drinks, watching the Brewers against the Diamondbacks. We thought we were going to get Quinn Priester today. We ended up with Aaron Ashby, which, I'm okay with, actually. That was going to be my first question is, how cool are you with starting to get the spot starts going for the bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, they did it earlier this year with, I believe it was like Priester and some other guys when they got some lefties in. So that I wasn't too worried about. But then I saw we signed Eric Fetty, and he's warming up right now. So
my God, he's already warming up.
Yeah, hang on to your butts for this one if you got the Brewers money line. But I don't know. We should be fine. That offense is finally clicking again. I mean, that was like a 2-week drought. We couldn't get the big hit with runners in position. So looking good the last couple of days, but that bullpen is needs some rest. That's for sure. Yeah,
no, the I think 20 games in 20 days. Something like that.
And McGill went on the IL today, too. So
I saw McGill 15-day IL for our Brewers. So wanted to get our Brewers talk out of the way right away to get our glazing finished. We'll let kind of everybody get in here and get settled. But per usual, we're live, but not per usual, live on a Wednesday. So this week, going to be doing 2 streams. Stoolie's going to be joining me on, obviously, tonight's stream. Tomorrow, going to be off. Going to actually sit back. Watch the Badgers, unfortunately, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then Friday is going to be more of a roundtable for college football. God, I got to adjust my seat. I keep fucking falling. It is our college football week 1 roundtable. I've already got Gino from Bet Openly, Etoff 21 Sports, my boy Vargas. It's going to be a lovely day. It's going to be a lot of guys coming in and sharing what they know. So, but before we get to all that, we have week 0.5, and before week 0.5 we had week 0. Stoolie, did you catch much of week 0 at all?
Yeah, I was out and about, but I had Iowa State, so that was a nice one. Prayers up for anybody who had the over in that game.
My God.
The goal line fumbled in the forearm at the 2-inch line that they decided to kneel out. So prayers up if you had the over, but and then Hawaii money line. So it was a pretty good week 0, have to go light. Can't be overdoing it early, but it was a nice start to the season, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Now, if you listen to the program on our end, also had Iowa State a couple different ways. We also, I leaned Hawaii. I didn't pull the trigger on Hawaii, but then I bet Kansas live. I was intrigued by Jalen Daniels after watching all of one drive, watching him make 2 defenders miss, and I was so back. So that went well. Did not go well in the UNLV game. We'll kind of talk about the UNLV game a little bit later because we do see them as well as Sam Houston State. They play each other on Friday night. So without further ado, really no reason to waste any time. Let's get cooking. Stoolie, it is week 0.5, and we're starting with a game that I know you have action on. Boise State going all the way down to South Florida, where we've got a high dew point, we've got high humidity, we've got 80s and 90s with a couple of boys from Idaho. Now, this is interesting because it is the first meeting between these 2 teams. USF 4-1 all time against the Mountain West Conference. Boise State 11-6 against the American. USF, this team runs up and down the field. They're going to be very exciting to watch offensively. Boise, obviously, you lose Ashton Genty. That's tough. Maddox Madsen is back. They lose their top wide receiver, Cam Camper, but they do have tight end Matt Lott. He's going to get some NFL noise, 6'4", 230 senior, had over 600 yards last year. interesting to me here, and I think I know what your bet is, and I think you look at the offense. Byron Brown for USF is electric. He is the mid-major basketball equivalent of the dude that just goes out and gets 25 points a game. He is a hooper, but in basketball terms, he had 3,200 yards in 2023. He was hurt after 5 games last season. Stoolie, where are you leaning on this one?
Yeah, I played the under 62.5. I mean, losing Genty, I know they've had all offseason to figure it out, but that dude, I mean, we know what he did last year, robbed of the Heisman, in my opinion, as a Genty Heisman ticket holder. But you lose the rush, but he was the number 2 receiver. You're going to lose your number 1 receiver, and then your number 3 tight receiver with tight end. So I think the offense might take a little bit to figure it out. The offensive line is pretty good, so I mean, I think they'll be able to run still with the Sire Gaines they have and Malik Sherrod. Both solid guys. I think be fine, but replacing Genty's tough. The defensive line is going to take some bit to figure out. I mean, they lost 4 of the defensive linemen, including 2 backups. So they're retaining some guys, brought in some guys, so they're going to have to figure that out yet. But their secondary is returning a lot of starters and experience, so I don't think UCF or USF is going to be able to really air it out and go nuts with Brown here. But new special teams, new kicker and punter. I really think that these guys are going to have to take some time to figure it out, and then you're going to work in some new special teams. And then USF, 33 seniors, a lot of transfer ads. The offense lost a lot of skill position players. The defense will retain some guys. So I think this will be more of just like a run-heavy game, kind of killing the clock here. Boise, new kicker, punter. Maybe a couple missed field goal or something to help us out there. But I just played the under. You got the Heat, Boise coming in there. It's going to be humid as hell. I think it's just going to be rough week 1. I mean, I think there'd be points, but 63 points, I don't think there's going to be that many. I could see somewhere in the 50s. So I played the under 62.5 in this one.
Yeah, and I pulled up Sire Gaines on the right side. Now, if you had to guess, and I always talk about one of the biggest things is like these kids look so young now. Yeah, no, they've completely reversed it on us. This dude looks 40. I watched some film of him. He's going to be just fine. I think Boise State, like you talked about offensively, they'll reload. They'll get back to where they were. I do like your idea of the under, though. I think the pace is going to be up in that game. However, at the same time, I think Florida weather is going to come around and really bite Boise State in the ass. I love the play. Let's keep it moving. Moving on down, it is the Ohio Bobcats catching 15.5 against Rutgers. We talked about this one before we hopped on stream. This is a 5 o'clock start on the Big Ten Network. Now, there I am. 5 o'clock start on the Big Ten Network. Total is 49.5. I'll be honest, there's more intrigue than what most folks will give it at face value. Tim Albin left the Bobcats for Charlotte after the best season in school history. MAC championship, won 11 games. I would be a little bit worried, but honestly, they just promoted their OC, Brian Smith. He steps right in, and I think he's going to do a really good job keeping Ohio atop the G5, and a guy that we talked about, a guy that somehow in the age of the portal and the age of NIL avoided all of it. They bring back all-MAC quarterback Parker Navarro. He's a true dual threat, 2,400 yards, over 1,000 on the ground. He ran it in 18 times last year. He's a freak on third down in the red zone. This team absolutely ate on third down. Kind of a fun little side story on this. I believe it's C is how you pronounce it. C. Bangura finds himself back in Athens. He actually played there a few years ago, had 2,200 yards, 22 scores, went to Minnesota, and I think he got all of like 4 carries. So a little bit of an interesting story. Now, unfortunately for the defense, they lost their best pass rusher, Bradley Weaver. Now, unfortunately for the offense, Bradley Weaver plays for Rutgers. So that's kind of a fun story as well. The Bobcat defense, they got gutted. I won't really put it any other way. They were 9th in the country last season in total defense, 13th in scoring, 4th against the run at 91 yards per game. You get a slew of transfers. We talked about Rutgers. You and I aren't super high on Kalakamanis. I definitely didn't say that right. I haven't said it in almost a year out loud. But it's year 6 of the Greg Schiano era, man. It's got to get better. They have to turn this thing up. They lose Manangai, I believe is how they pronounce the running back's name last year, 1,000-yard running back. They lose their defensive coordinator to UMass, get most of those guys back. It's good and bad, but outside of Purdue, they were the worst team in the Big Ten as far as defense goes. Now, I have a problem. We both talked about this being too many points. I have Parker Navarro to score a touchdown in this game. Like I mentioned, he had 18 touchdowns last season on the ground, and this is a plus money prop. I just want to look to see. Actually, I can pop it on right here. There's a reason that I pulled this up. Let's see what Bet Openly's got live, because I did not get it on Bet Openly. Yeah, I got plus 130. Let's see what we got for Bet Openly for the Bobcats. Oh, I got better odds. I'm gonna have to call Gino. I got plus 130. Bet Openly's got plus 105. Folks, if you can find that in your book, I love Parker Navarro to score. Stoolie, is there enough to get you to back Ohio from a spread standpoint over 2 touchdowns?
I want to. Really like Navarro. They've got the same head coach there. Well, interim head coach, but he was the OC. So I mean, like that system should have some continuity built up. But I think just Rutgers is meaner in the trenches, and I think they can just wear them down. But asking Rutgers to win by 16, 17 points it's kind of tough. I knew they blew out whoever the hell they played last year, but Navarro's pretty damn good. Their running backs should be all right. I don't think they're going to be as good as last year, so that could struggle for them. But Rutgers defensive line, they lost 5 of them, but they added 4 transfers, and 2 of those transfers have 33 and a half sacks combined, and that's basically about as much, if not a little bit less than what they had. Rutgers had in those other defensive linemen they had, so should get more pressure. Add some we'll just say hecticness, if that's even a word for the U.S. or Ohio.
Havoc. I think havoc.
There we
right.
go. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Should make some havoc. I think they can get some pressure, but at the end, I just think Ohio can potentially backdoor this. Navarro's good enough, dual threat. I mean, he can run, he can throw. So it would be Ohio for me, but I'm not going to be betting this game. I also just think potentially an over, just because Navarro is that good, and that might put pressure on Rutgers to keep running some offense instead of just wasting clock here. But losing my none guy, that hurts the offense for sure, but I don't think they'll struggle too much. I mean, it is Rutgers. They have great offensive line, should be able to bully around Ohio a little bit and get that run game going.
100%. I'm just pulling up the team total right now for Ohio. It's 15.5 at minus 140. Juicy. I think it's actually sitting 16 or 16.5 at most books, honestly. For the difference, I would just take that extra point at a little bit better odds. But that's just me. Let's keep it moving. I've got my next game features a interesting coaching position. I'm just going to pull her up here. It is the Bowling Green Falcons, Stoolie, and their new head coach, Eddie George. Eddie George takes over after taking Tennessee State from absolute shit to a conference championship last year. They lost in the first round of the playoffs, but they opened the season laying 16.5 against Lafayette, which is a team that we see in the basketball circuit all the time. Notre Dame's Drew Pine taking over for Connor Baselick. They are also going to have to figure out how to replace Harold Fannin, who might be the best tight end college football's ever seen. I talked to you about this before we got on, Stoolie. The Bowling Green schedule to start for Eddie is tough. They get this one, a little bit of a cupcake to start, but then it's at Cincinnati, Liberty at home, at Louisville, at Ohio. That is their September. It's going to be brutal. They're going to find out what kind of team they've got over there in Kentucky. I would imagine you do not have any action on the Bowling Green game, no?
I don't, but I mean, you said it with that schedule, it's going to be tough as hell. I mean, we saw Dion year 1 in Colorado go to TCU and win. I mean, when you get a big name coach like this coming in, you get the talent, i.e. Pine's coming in for quarterback. I think they got to hit the ground running and have a huge win and just build some confidence in this team, especially when they got a gauntlet coming up. I kind of like their team total over potentially, not enough to bet it, but I think they got to put up points. And Lafayette, I don't think they're going to be able to slow them down one bit. I think it's just kind of Bowling Green does what they want to do. Big game for Eddie George. I mean, again, game 1 at a school that's not a technical college, basically. I think he comes out. They just want to put it on.
We'll see them come basketball season just playing.
Damn right. Can't wait.
But
10 weeks, but who's counting? Yeah. I just think Bowling Green puts up points. I think they put it to them. Big spread, but that team total I think could happen. I mean, I could see plenty of turnovers happening for Lafayette, and foot to the pedal all game for Bowling Green.
Nice. So that'll be a 5:00 start. That'll be on ESPN Plus. Getting into our 6:00 starts, a very interesting one here as we get a bowl rematch, which is very interesting. They scheduled these games years ago, so this is complete coincidence. Actually, it is, but it isn't, because when the Bulls selection committee selects, they know that they're playing next year. So, and I'll tell you what, man, the 2024 Military Bowl, ECU walked away winners, and I'd love to say that they walked away gracefully. They didn't. That game ended in an absolute brawl. Many players were ejected, as it was the last game of the season, so it didn't matter. It's going to be really interesting. I don't know, man. So ECU had an interesting season. They started the year 3-4. They fire their coach. They now get their interim, now fully head coach, go 5-1 down the stretch, return a lot of guys from last year's team. But one of the guys that I didn't mention his name earlier, but I got to mention Anthony Smith, wide receiver. He comes over from NC State and was part of that brawl. Somebody posted a clip. He was right smack dab in the middle of it. So you're playing for that team now, buddy. So that is fun. It's kind of cutting up like a wrestling promo. Dave Doran's job seems unlosable at this point for NC State. He heads into year 13. They do get CJ Bailey returning, as well as leading rusher Hollywood Smothers. Really great name. And their leading receiver was actually a tight end, Justin Jolly. I don't really have an opinion on the game. Obviously, it's got watchability factor with the history between these two. Anything you see as far as the spread and the total in that one that you like?
I really want to play ECU. I mean, you said it. Dorn somehow has a job after 13 years at NC State doing absolutely nothing. But these two teams absolutely hate each other. And ECU has gone to NC State and won multiple times, tore down their own goalpost once upon a time too. So, I mean, 14 points feels like a lot. NC State, 2 new coordinators too. You know, how's that going to mesh the opening game here? So I really like ECU, especially with the bad blood in this. I know some players that flip-flop, but these two teams know each other. They both hate each other. I think this is a one-possession game at most. 14 points, I mean, and if it's going to be a one-possession game, I don't say why not sprinkle a little bit on ECU money line. I mean, They've done this before, gone in and win, not gracefully, and I don't think this game will be graceful and gracefully either. I think there's going to be some shit going on, but I like the points and the potential money line. I mean, it's gone up from like 12.5. So I'm kind of just hoping to catch like a 14.5 or something at some point. Get that hook with ECU, and I'll probably honestly end up firing on this one. This is going to be a fun game.
You're looking at ECU plus 498 on Bet Openly. Getting that filled is going to be a whole nother question. But I mean, even through the regular books, I think is going to be in that 350 to 450 range. And yeah. Like you said, if it's going to play to a one-possession ball game, why the hell not sprinkle a little bit on the money line? Let's move to our 6:00 slot with Jacksonville State and UCF. We get a pair of new coaches in this one. Stoolie, I said we need to make fun of Scott Frost a little bit because let's not beat around the bush. The Nebraska thing was a complete and utter failure. Never worked, never had a competitive squad. And now he's back. He goes back to where he hung the banner at 13-0, and it's national champion Scott Frost. Don't you forget it. Put some respect on the man's name. In this one, they're laying 20.5 against Jacksonville State, who lost Rich Rodriguez to West Virginia. Again, Rich Rod. It's now been 3 episodes that I've talked about Rich Rod and Scott Frost in the same breakdown. They just can't seem to lose each other. To make things worse, Rich Rod took their number 1 receiver, and they had 2,000-yard rushers that are also gone. So, I mean, it's going to be tough sledding for Jacksonville State. I don't know if UCF is good. I would imagine they should be. You'd think Scott Frost has a decent imprint in the state of Florida to be able to go and get some guys, but I just don't know how quickly it goes. Maybe he's washed. So nothing for me in that one. Anything for you as far as that game goes?
No, but you said it. Rich Rod left, great coach, and then took the best players with him. So, I mean, like now you got to fill all that in. new head coach. I know Scott Frost headed back to UCF, but he was there already, and he's a national champion. So, I mean, if he wants to bring in some guys, I think he's going to have a way easier time bringing in guys to UCF than Jacksonville State's going to be able to figure out losing their head coach and their best players. So, I think Scott Frost coming back, and then I know Jacksonville State, they're not going to have the weather's not going to affect them at all either. So I think UCF can get this done. I think Scott Frost coming back, after a embarrassing tenure in Nebraska, I think he's coming back. I think he's ready to just shit pump somebody. And I think this Jacksonville State is in a tough spot right now. So I would go UCF more than anything. I haven't fully dug into this game, but just given what Jacksonville State lost, UCF gets back from Scott Frost, already been there, national champion, of course. So it would be UCF or nothing for me in this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would lean UCF just from a storyline standpoint, from the fact that place is going to be absolutely rabid for a Thursday night game. Very excited to see how that whole Scott Frost era at UCF ends up going the second time.
Is school back in session there?
Yeah, it's Florida. They go back super early, so I'm sure all the students are there.
Bounce House will be officially open.
Yeah, so definitely going to have a little home field advantage for them there. Next one I have absolutely nothing for. St. Francis and UL Monroe. 24-point spread, 45.5-point total. Anything for you?
Nothing. I was watching the college experience guys. They were breaking that down. Colby had mentioned that there might have just been a mass loss for all like athletes and shit for St. Francis, because after they won the conference in basketball a year ago, they immediately just demoted, went down to D3.
Yep.
Who wants to play for D3? So I'm with him. I think they probably lost a ton of talent and a ton of players. Not going to have anybody you really want on that team. But Monroe, their head coach, I believe, is now the AD. So they're going through some changes too. And I'm not going to lay 30-some points with that. I'll sit and find out. And hopefully St. Francis looks that bad and we can just circle them to just be a fade for all year.
Sure, 100%. Don't hate that at all. Next game, I told you the first line I have under this one, you're a sicko if you have this game on anything but a multi-screen or multi-stream. Wyoming laying 5.5 at Akron, total 48.5. I came around on this game. Wyoming 3-9 their first year under a new head coach. They return a lot of that group, but my God, they need to make huge just changes to compete in the Mountain West. Akron, a lot of familiar faces. They also get quarterback Ben Finley, top 5 quarterback probably in the MAC. They lost all their run production from a year ago, but the wide receiver room is an interesting story. I think personally, there are going to be a lot of players that come back to their original schools at the mid-major, G5 level. The reason for that is we see it again. Alex Adams was first-team All-MAC back in 2022. He goes to LSU. Things don't work out. Injuries happen. And then now he's back. So you get a guy that's been 2 years out of it, and he gets to come back and play. The more I went into this game, the more I looked at it, these are two very even teams. And the home team is getting 5.5 points. Stoolie, I can't believe it, but I'm taking the Zips. I'm taking the Zips plus 5.5 in this game. I did not think there was any chance of that happening. I contemplated the money line. It's sitting now just under plus 200. Couldn't quite get there, but you said you also kind of liked Akron in the spot.
I did. I wish I would have got that 7, getting that 5.5, and it's trending down more. Starting to lean more towards Wyoming. I mean, their quarterback last year, Savota Bato, whatever the hell his name was, he was so bad they made him a tight end. So he's no longer slinging the pigskin for them. Was that Anderson kid? He played pretty good, 58% completions, 6-3 touchdown interception ratio, threw for almost 1,000 in 3 games, and then he got hurt and was out the rest of the year. So that kind of killed their offense there. They lost their number 1 running back. The receivers, the top 3 are back, so that's a huge plus. And if this Anderson kid can pick it up where he left off, pre-injury, I think the offense will be all right. 9 of their top 10 offensive linemen are back, but their defense, they've added like 5 FCS players. So how is that going to really translate is kind of a question I have. And Akron, This teams are fairly similar, but I think Wyoming's a better team,
Sure.
just ever so slightly. But getting the 7, I would have played Akron, but where it's at, I'd maybe just let it go down, and maybe I'll play Wyoming at whatever number it gets to. But at the end of the day, I'm probably not going to play this one. It is also a national TV game, so
Yes.
you want to talk about a spot for Akron to get up and kind of prove it to them. I mean, they can't go to the postseason because of what their players did last year, 2 years ago, just not hitting the books hard enough. So this could be a spot they just get up and want to put it to the NCAA to prove that they should be playing in the postseason if they make it there. So I don't hate the Akron spot. I just don't have a strong enough lean either way to really fire on this game.
No, totally respectable. Yeah, I just mean I look at the spot. Close enough teams as far as the talent's concerned. Akron at home, like you said, Akron, a little bit of sanction action going on for the Zipperoos, but yeah, it's going to definitely be an interesting game. They're going to be up for it. I'm sure that stadium will be as rowdy as a Akron stadium can get on a Thursday night. Moving right down the list, Central Arkansas, 36.5 against Missouri. I actually was like, is that enough points? Oh boy, it's up to 35. They are hitting Mizzou. Not super concerned about this game. A little fun stat, only Georgia, and I can't really count Texas, so we'll just say Georgia has won more games in the SEC than Missouri over the past 2 seasons. They do lose Brady Cook to the NFL. We're going to see 2 quarterbacks, Sam Horn, who's an in-house guy, Bo Perubla, who came over from Penn State, which was just a highly recruited guy. It wasn't anything that was super special. Anything for the Kark Bears. Interesting seeing all these mid-major basketball teams on NFL.
I know.
College football lines.
I know it's getting me excited for hoops, but no, I got nothing in that. It'd have to be Missouri or nothing. I haven't looked into that, but I can't imagine Central Arkansas has much talent hanging around on that team.
Sure. This is an interesting one. So when I put my notes together, Elon was catching 34. That is now down to 31.5. So I guess I don't know what's really going on with the line in the Duke and Elon game. That's a 6:30 start. I don't have many notes on this one. You are going to see the highest paid player in college football, Darian Mensah, who had an $8 million NIL deal that took him from Tulane. Stoolie, we talked about it, not you and I, but I talked about it in our preview for college football. Tulane's backfield made $10 million in NIL, and neither of them are playing for them because running back Mekhi Hughes is at Oregon. So that is the world that we live in. Elon, again, this is not basket. This looks like, honestly, if you just look at this line, ignore the total. This is round 1 of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And Duke is going to lose outright. No, Elon, not worried about that game. Let's keep it rolling because UT Martin, Oklahoma State, another year or another one of these that really does not move the needle. 22.5 for Oklahoma State. The one thing I did want to kind of note in this, Mike Gundy, I think this is his last stand. He's one of the all-time characters in college football over the last couple decades. I'm a man, I'm 40. I mean, just an all-time soundbite. He took a pay cut to hang around. Stoolie, I think that he is a rough start away from getting shown the door. Are you a Mike Gundy fan or you hate the guy?
Oh, I mean, how can you hate Mike Gundy? I mean, I'm a man. I'm 40. I mean, 40. Like you said, all-time clip. Like it's fantastic. But this entire team is basically new. Laying 3+ touchdowns. I don't know about that. It's going to be disgusting. But let's not act like Oklahoma State is loaded down with talent and threatening to contend for anything this year.
No, I totally agree. Oklahoma State kind of depressing where that football program has went. And I'd love to say that they've put it into other sports, but I don't know. So Oklahoma State projected pretty solid for basketball this year. I know you're more in tune to it.
I mean, they got Anthony Roy from Green Bay, so they got an actual bucket getter on this team.
That's where he ended up. Nice.
Yeah, he had that foot injury that kept him out all year, and then immediately hit the portal and got a bag. So he definitely put on a show early in the year, put up some stats, and then sat out. But I mean, I don't know. Like Oklahoma State basketball should be fine. Their head coach coming back too, so I think they'll be fine this year. But regardless, going back to that Elon game quick, it is an in-state rivalry. I mean, Duke didn't really blow them out last year when they played, and Duke has Illinois on deck immediately too. So
Oh, yeah.
How much are they really going to show? I don't hate an under, just like plugging your nose and taking the points with Elon potentially. I've been staring at it, but
It's
haven't done anything.
31 and a half is so many points. And don't get me wrong, I like Mensa as a quarterback. Why the hell would you show anything against Elon? Like you said, you got Illinois coming up. So I don't hate that either. And that actually might be exactly why that line has changed and has tightened up a little bit. So not bad analysis, my friend. Let's move it down to a game that I know both of us have circled. Buffalo and Minnesota, man, that line is kind of just staying stable at 17. It was 17 and a half, slowly moving towards the Bulls. Now, before we talk about this game, what kind of leash is PJ Fleck working with? Because this offseason, he signed an extension through 2030. He's walking into year 9. He's 58 and 39, sub 500 in the Big Ten. No title appearances to show for it. Outside of winning 11 games once back in 2019, he's never won 10 games before, and that includes bowl games, which is ironic because he's 6-0 in bowl games. It's the only thing that they can hold on to with him, except for the fact that they are Wisconsin. They're going to the Quicken Lanes Bowl, pinstripe, guaranteed rate, Outback, Duke Mayo Bowl. In my opinion, I think Fleck and Fickle are similar. I in my notes, there are two cheeks on the same Midwestern ass. Win total 6.5. Vegas expects more mediocrity. Do you think there's a chance if Minnesota falls flat on their face this year that they could move on from Fleck, or do you think it's just he's so held on a pedestal? I guess
They at least the fans I know love him for the most part. I mean, I'm sure
yeah.
there's people that hate him.
I don't hear any ill will for as shitty as the teams have been. They think he is turning water into wine.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota wasn't great until he showed up, and they're winning some big rivalry games and whatnot. So I think at the end of the day, Minnesota knows they're not going to compete for a national title or anything. But if you're winning these rivalry games and putting out a decent product, I mean, Michigan down here last year, they almost beat Michigan in the Big House,
right?
Had he get that win, I think his leash is a bit longer, but I don't think he's on like a hot seat or anything.
Sure.
As of right now, if they have a bad year this year, maybe next year goes in, you got to have a bigger year, but I think right now he'll be fine.
When did I miss the Brewers scoring a run?
They had guys on first, third, no outs, and grounder to second. So
right on.
We'll take it. Fetty's looking decent so far.
I was going to say, Fetty's actually looking all right. Okay, let's talk about the game. Buffalo, no slouch. I want to give my friends over at the Hustle Belt, for those of you that don't know what the Hustle Belt is, that is all things Mac. That is basically the Mac nerds, as I like to call them. They picked the Bills to win the conference in their annual roundtable, which that is they've done a very, very solid job over the last few years. Maybe not picking the exact winner, but they're really good at putting the top 3 teams, top 4 teams all up in there, kind of being interchangeable. So a lot to be excited about with this group. They returned 75% of a roster that won 8 games, nearly made its way to the MAC title game. They won 4 straight to close MAC play, and then they slapped Liberty in the Bahamas Bowl, which Slater didn't play in, so it wasn't like a big win. But the defense is the key. They returned 8 of their top 10 tacklers offensively. They get ex-UConn quarterback Taquan Henderson. I just don't think it's a team to take lightly. Minnesota, they have such a wide range. I went and read through all the beat reporters, and I mean, you got guys that are saying 5-6 games. They got guys that are 7 to 8 games, and you got a few guys that think this is a 9 to 10 win team. But I think it's all just going to come down again to quarterback. You know, that's one thing that Fleck has been able to do is he's been able to find a quarterback. It's not like they go into seasons not knowing who their guy is. Now, when you had Tanner Morgan for 5 years, that is helpful as far as continuity goes. Then we talked about Kili Kamanis. He came in, did okay. And then they get Max Brosmer, who jumps from FCS to FBS, and he did fine. It wasn't anything special. This year's an interesting story. They go redshirt freshman. They're almost going back to the Tanner Morgan route. They're going with Drake Lindsay. The dude is 6'5", 235 as a redshirt freshman. He looks the part. He was a 3-star out of Arkansas, won the job in the spring. So that'll be a really interesting one to look at. But the guy that I wanted to highlight is the guy that I had in our thumbnail this week. Coy Parrish is And when you Google the lad, of course, his Wisconsin recruiting visit is one of the top photos that pops up. This guy's unbelievable. He was second team All-American as a freshman safety last year. First team All Big Ten as a safety, second team All Big Ten as a returner. He led the Big Ten with 5 interceptions. And oh yeah, by the way, he's going to play offense this year as well. So yes, Wisconsin missed out on this dude. It pains me to see him do well. But let's talk about the game, Stoolie. Is 17 too many points here? Are we thinking the Bulls?
Yeah, I like the Bulls. I'm probably going to fire on them. And then you went over at the redshirt freshman. You got a starting at quarterback. So I mean, first play, and yes, it's a MAC team in Buffalo, but their defense is returning a lot of guys, a lot of great players. And then their offensive line. I was reading the Phil Steele book. He has them at the Buffalo offensive line at 56, Minnesota at 60. So a little bit extra protection there, not to mention the continuity and returning production they have. I feel like 17 is way too much. Minnesota definitely is a team that can go and smack somebody, but they're also a team that can just lay an egg. And now you're going to put a freshman quarterback in there against a really good defensive unit in Buffalo that can make things a little uncomfortable for them. I really like Buffalo with the 17. I might even get a little crazy and sprinkle on the money line or first half money line or something. Slow start for the kid, and Buffalo kind of comes out and plays a damn good game considering they've got a lot of returning production that have played together. I almost sprinkled on them to win the MAC too, plus 450. I mean, you can get a plus 170 to make the
Good
conference
price,
tournament.
Man. If you're somebody that likes the corner markets, shout out GRP. But like, dude, it's not a bad number. It's one of the things that I forgot I had it in my notes at the top. But yeah, I love that number, especially if you're going to try to play multiple positions. 4-1's pretty easy to get around.
Yeah. It's tempting. I really like Buffalo. Actually, right before the show, I fired on the over 7.5 wins, plus 120. Everywhere else is minus. So I was like, I gotta hop on that for a team that can find their way in the conference championship. I don't think with too much of a struggle. So I really like Buffalo here, the 17, and I might even get a little crazy with a money line or first half money line on Buffalo.
Ooh, first half money line. I think you could talk me into a little bit.
Slow start for the redshirt freshman. Good defensive unit. Great offense too for Buffalo. That's not going to get their quarterback in trouble.
Hold on. We need to do some line search, and I think I might know what we got here. What are we looking at for a first half under?
Ooh.
What are we looking at? Okay, for the game, first half, 23.5. Huh.
Tempting.
23.5, 3 touchdowns and a field goal.
You got a low total. You got a more experienced Buffalo unit. 5-1 on the money line too, first half.
Yeah, I see that plus 588 on Bet Openly. That
damn.
Plus 9.5 too on the spread. I mean, but you lose that 10. If it was plus 10.5, you could maybe get me off the couch. But I kind of love the number at 23.5. I adjusted it to 24. I think it'd be like minus 120, 125. But that is one I'm going to keep in mind is the Buffalo, Minnesota. I feel like we got to get some sort of action on that first half. There is an angle there for sure. I didn't even realize it. I didn't even hide my balance, but whatever. Moving on, let's talk about one game that does not have a line, Alabama State UAB, so we're not going to talk about it. Before
Did UAB give them a scare last year?
UAB did. So
yeah, that was that rain game, I believe.
Correct. So, and I don't know. It's not like they're not going to have a line. And I'm looking again. Yeah, there's still no line out. It's the only game. I need a line for Delaware State, which we didn't even talk about. I didn't have on my
Sean
list.
Jackson, baby.
I know. Unbelievable story.
No coaching experience whatsoever.
Absolutely none. Well, dude, it kind of, you hear less of these stories that kind of fall flat on their face as far as ex-players coming in. Because, I mean, in the age of, like, recruiting and shit like that, they can kind of throw bags around. They already know how that works. So, But, yeah, this is also Delaware's first Division One FCS game. So there's a lot going into that. And the fact that they're 31.5, that tells you why they made the jump. So let's talk before we get into the Badgers and get really, really depressing. I want to bring up.
I don't know about that one.
All right. Well, maybe it won't be that
We'll
depressing.
wait.
Let's talk Nebraska and Cincinnati, because this is a game that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. Nebraska currently, where are we at? 6.5. We are up to 7. That's plus money. So, I mean, you're going to see 6.5, 7 numbers all over the place. Stoolie, 52.5 point total. They're playing the game at Arrowhead, which is an interesting one. Matt Rule's third season. Led Nebraska to their first winning season in 7 years. Did not realize that. The Nebraska offensive line was kind of a story. They were not able to protect their quarterback, and Andrew Vaughn just missed one, son of a bitch. But anyways, talking about this offensive line for Nebraska, they've kind of transitioned. They were very, very young, and they sucked 2 years ago. And then last year, Raiola makes them a little bit better. But then it's a lot of the same guys. They have the 13th most starts in college football along the offensive line, which I think is going to be huge. I know a lot of guys give him shit. Raiola was fine for a true freshman. 71.5 passer grade, which was a massive jump. The team had a 42.4 rating in 2023. That was the third worst in the country. He's got a trio of receivers that should bring some splash. The Huskers, the one thing they need to get is balance. They had no balance in their rushing attack, multiple games under 100 yards. But I'll tell you what, Holge fixed that pretty quick. Dana Holgerson became the play caller, and he is back. At the beginning of the season, we saw a team that was averaging, what was it? I think 124 yards per game through their first 6 games. They bumped that north of 140. They were also averaging 225 yards passing, which I think is right on par. If you could somehow get that up to 150 yards on the ground and 250 yards passing, you're talking about one of the best offenses in the Big Ten. Cincinnati's in year 3 in the Big 12 under Scott Scatterfield. It's been a grind, dude. They tripled their conference win total from 1 to 3 last season, so that's great. Sorsby's back at quarterback. What do you think in this one? It feels like Nebraska laying the points to me, but maybe I'm just buying into the Nebraska hype and not looking into Cincinnati enough. Where do you lie on this?
Yeah, I mean, this is Raiola's wet dream getting to play in Mahomes' house. He's gonna be excited. Yeah, he's gonna be excited. You got the Kelsey brothers alma mater, Cincinnati, coming into town.
Nice.
They'll be there. So, have you seen a single soul on Cincinnati? I feel like all I've heard is Matt Rule, year 3, Nebraska, touchdown. They're going to have the home field advantage, which all that's true. Rule year 3 really, really elevates the program from his previous years. But
sure,
I kind of like Cincinnati. I mean, Satterfield had nothing going in Cincinnati. Granted, they only won 3 conference games, but the Big 12 is, that's a ridiculously chaos. Every single week, but they improved last year, and now you've got everybody just drooling over Nebraska, Matt Rule, Raiola, all that stuff. This is a big game. I'm inclined to take Cincinnati with the points. I think they get up for this. Satterfield will be ready, and it's just everybody's just crowning Nebraska too much, too early. You're only laying a touchdown. It feels a little easy. Granted, we know really nothing about these teams, what we're going to see on field, but just initial Cincinnati. I haven't fired on anything. I got to dive more into this, but I'm kind of liking Cincinnati. I just see way too much love for Nebraska out the gate for simply because it's, Raiola, really good. You're right. 100%. He was really, really good last year.
Really, really good. I overachieved maybe. Really, really good is maybe giving him too much credit, but definitely overachieved for a freshman in the Big Ten.
Fair. Yes. Compared to what they had, he was really, really good, but Holgerson back, some continuity off-season stuff, but I want to see them actually take the next step. I like Cincinnati here, but again, still got to do a little bit of diving into this one a little bit further and see if I fire on anything in this game.
Sure, 100%. And I did want to mention too, SF Austin is at Houston, which again, another basketball school making their way into our week 1 breakdown. Keep their head on a swivel, Houston. SF Austin's a top 25 school in the FCS. And then we also see Stony Brook going on the road to San Diego State, which is another top 25 FCS school going into a G5. That's dangerous, dangerous waters. So, all right, before we get into Friday's games, let's talk about our Badgers. Where do you want to start with our Badgers? You sound heavily more optimistic than I am.
I mean, given Fickle year 3 has to do something, or he's probably out the door.
He's
got his guys in now. I mean, this team is looking better. And given who they're playing, Miami, Ohio, you couldn't ask for really much better situation. I mean, Miami, Ohio lost almost everybody. I mean, they have no offensive line. I wrote decimated on their offensive line, 0 starters. They have 3 career starts combined for this entire offensive line they're going to start. That's the lowest in the FBS out of everybody. So there's no experience there. Wisconsin, 300-pound defensive linemen last year. They've got 9 now. So they can really back. Yeah. And Frost already said that. He's like, we got to get back to Wisconsin football and running the ball. So I think it's going to be more of an emphasis on that. I think throughout the game, they're going to just grind them down. And eventually just Miami, Ohio is not going to really be able to do much of anything. Wisconsin's going to control the tempo. They're going to beat them around. I mean, Dorian Finn, Daquan Finn, whatever, really, really good, but he's got nothing. I mean, the receivers decimated, lost their top 4 receivers and 6 and 7 from last year. They're returning Cam Perry, 3 starts, 166 yards, and Cole Weaver, 2 starts, 38 yards. That's their returning production on offense. The running backs, they lost their top 3. They keep this Kenny Tracy guy, 5 starts, 250 yards. So, pretty respectable there. But other than that, no offensive line. You've got no returning weapons on offense there. They lost their top 2 linebackers that were first and second team all MAC. They're number 5 and 8 tacklers. They lost their cornerback, 12 starts, 53 tackles, 17 pass breakups last year. And then their safety with 29 tackles last year. I think, especially with that no defensive line, that secondary is going to be just running around forever and just getting tired up. The beef that we have on the defensive line now that we can just rotate multi-sets of 300-pound defensive linemen is going to really put a damper on Miami, Ohio's day. I actually like Wisconsin laying the points. I like the Miami, Ohio under 10.5. I just think they're not going to have the ball much. I think Wisconsin's just going to just wear them down. So, yeah, I'm probably going to double bet this one. No homerism. I was actually down on the Badgers, and then I diving into this game and seeing how bad Miami, Ohio is going to be. I think this is a spot where Wisconsin can put it on them. Not to mention Fickle, hot seat. He needs to come out and just blast these guys, especially after Western Michigan gave us a scare last year at home.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's going to dick around. I think they're just going to punish them. I honestly think it's going to be like 31-6, 35-7, something like that. Give me Wisconsin minus 17.5 and the team total under for Miami, Ohio.
Well, if you like Wisconsin at those numbers, you're going to love Wisconsin over 28.5 for their team total. So, yeah, and my optimism of Wisconsin is not in this, or my lack of optimism is not in this game solely. It's just in the program as a whole.
What about the schedule, though?
So
that's where I get down on the Badgers a little bit.
Buddy, the streets are saying it's the hardest schedule in college football.
I have pissed off, but
I have to pull it up because it is unbelievable. Now it is funny because you schedule things the best you can, and then the Big Ten goes through all of these changes. There's no fucking way you would have done this Alabama horse shit if you knew the Big Ten was changing the way that it was. But yes, home game against Miami of Ohio, home game against Middle Tennessee State, and then on my birthday they go to Tuscaloosa. They come back. Thank you. They come back. They get Maryland at home, and then the fun begins, I guess you would say. Yelly, play the plate. Oh, he got him. Fuck yeah, Yelly. Sniped him. Kept that a 1-0 game. Thanks for playing, Arizona. Anyway, sorry, back to what we were talking about. Hey, it's a live watch along. But anyways, we go to at Ann Arbor. Then we get Iowa at home. That's our homecoming game. Then it's Ohio State at home. And then you go to Eugene. So it's Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, Oregon. And then you get Washington, who I don't think Washington's going to be a slouch this year. And then after that, you're at Indiana, against Illinois, and finish up at Minnesota. I believe the Wisconsin win total was set at 4.5, 5.5.
I think it was 5.5. Yeah.
It's brutal, man. They're going to have Dylan Jones at starting running back this season. Katie Akamelli is going to get some work. The receivers are a lot of what we've already seen. Vinny Anthony's homegrown. Trench is homegrown. Henry's homegrown. The one dude that I am actually kind of – T.Y. Hilton's son is on the 2 deep as a freshman.
Yeah.
That, to me, is maybe one of the top storylines that gets me going a little bit when we're talking about Wisconsin. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they go. You hope that the schedule doesn't push Fickle up. And honestly, they may, with this schedule, it might be really unfair to fire Fickle this year. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's fucking brutal, man. I'm going to have a hard time watching Badger games this year. But like you said, it should be a fun time on Thursday night. So Stoolie's on the Badgers a couple different ways. He might have talked me into it. Keep an eye on my Twitter because that's where you'll find out. Now, talked about Stony Brook, talked about Stephen F. Austin as well. Both of them top 25 FCS schools. Stoolie, as we get into Friday, a game that I didn't think would matter to me even to the slightest. Tarleton State at Army. It is on CBS Sports Network. Tarleton State currently a 2-touchdown dog as an FCS school. Now, Tarleton State is also a top 10 FCS school. Let's talk Army for a second, though. Bryson Daly was a godsend at quarterback for this offense. He's not walking through the door. They get a senior quarterback, Dwayne Coleman, homegrown guy, but he has had less than 100 live snaps in his time in college. I'm not going to say Jeff Munkin's not going to have his team ready. He's a very, very good coach. One note I did have that was really funny. Kanya Udo, one of their running backs, he transferred from Army to Arizona State. So that guy is going to have maybe the best fall he could ever dream of. Tempe's going to be a blast for him. But, dude, I think Tarleton State has a chance to not only cover, I think Tarleton State has a chance to possibly shock the world. I watched them last week. They've got dudes. Their quarterback, Victor Gabalis, I believe, or Gabalis, third-year starter. He's second-team All-UAC last year. He's a preseason All-American honorable mention. The offense was supposed to be one-dimensional, and then Trey Page III laced them up. He's a freshman running back. He is electric. 15 carries, 174 yards, 2 scores at over 11 yards per carry last weekend. This is a fun one. Stoolie, I'm going to expose Army football here for a second, and I haven't looked into Navy. I haven't looked into Air Force. I think I'm going to have to do some research here because normally the reason you wouldn't bet an FCS school against an FBS school is the fact that size. It's simple. They're bigger. If they were bigger, they'd be up a level. Well, I did a little deep dive into Army's roster. Army has 26 players listed 300 pounds or more. Every single one of them is an offensive lineman. Stoolie, out of those 26, how many of those do you think are listed between 300 and 305?
Based on how you're wording this, I'm going to say 1.
All but 6.
No.
So somebody's fucking lying. There were a few guys that were like 320 pounds, 324. I believe those guys. There were so many. I think there were 8 or 9 300-pounders like on the nose. And it's like, bullshit. They're just not that big. And when you look at them on tape, Army doesn't run that big either. So I think Tarleton State's a good pick. I got Tarleton State plus 14 at this one. I got them for plus 115 on the bet. I think Tarleton State has a chance to win this game. I don't think it probably crossed your radar a whole lot. Anything you want to add to that game at all?
Yeah, no, I mean, Army, they lost a quarterback, I'm pretty sure too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. They lost him, and then Udo leaving definitely hurts. Tarleton went up to Portland State and put the whooping on them last week. That's for damn sure. I mean, Army last year was a team I blind bet first half every single game. Nice. It was an absolute cash cow, them and Navy. I think Navy's obviously going to be far better than Army this year. I think Army had their year. But I'm with you. I kind of like Tarleton. I mean, you're going to get to go into Army, who had a great year last year. they lost their quarterback and whoever else, and Udo losing him's a big loss. Tarleton's got a game under the belt. And the shit out of Portland State, obviously they prepared a little bit, but knowing you have Army game too, I'm sure they worked against the triple option in the offseason and in camp. So they should be pretty prepared for it for the most part. I'm with you. I'm staring at it. I'm hoping it goes up a little bit more, but I mean, still getting that 14 at least. I'm with you. Tarleton or nothing. And yeah, maybe first half money line, full game money line, sprinkle a little bit on each one. It's week one. Anything can happen. These teams have had all offseason to prepare. So you got teams that are coming down from a high of last year, and you got another team that's been ready for this, especially like an FCS team or FBS, low-end FBS team that's improved. I think we can see some craziness, and Tarleton they look primed to kind of shock the world and at least hang with Army pretty damn close.
No, 100%. Love to see that we're on the same wavelength there. My biggest thing is I wanted to get it's funny, somebody on Bet Openly had this bet sitting out there. And I'm like, well, that's a weird one. Didn't think much of it. Went through my game thing and I'm scrambling to get back on there. I'm like, is that bet still on there? Is that bet still available? And sure as shit it was. So plus 115 at plus 14 on the spread. Interesting game here. Interesting team. Let me get back to our odds screen here as I was locked up on the Badger game. Another Big Ten school, Stoolie, Michigan State. Michigan State is an interesting spot. At the time, I had them laying 21. Let me see what that's at now. Sparty's still laying 21. So I feel like State's kind of at a crossroads. They've won 14 games in 3 seasons, just 7 in Big Ten play. Jonathan Smith is in year 2. I think State has some interesting talent. I'm actually kind of high on the quarterback, Aiden. I think it's Chili's. I think people call him
Childs.
Chili's. You get it. I'm high on him, but he needs it. Ooh, that's going to be a nice one for Monasterio. But 15 turnovers. Come on, you got to cut that down to like 8. They got a pair of sophomores in the running back room that are mostly unproven. Reading through it, the beat writers seemingly love them, which is great. I do a lot of beat writer reading during this time of the season. I think the most important thing to them is going to be their wide receiver room. They went and they got, in my opinion, one of the best guys in the portal. It is MAC legend Krishan McCray from Kent State. Leaves one of the worst programs in college football, and he was one of the best players in the MAC. He's going to be a great complement to a very explosive true sophomore in Nick Marsh. The defense, really good against the run. Didn't give up a ton of big plays through the air. It's a big-time season. I think they're going to get off on the right foot. Western, they are picked to finish in the bottom half of a weak MAC. They're like right above the absolute swill of UMass, Ball State, Akron, and Kent State. They're going to roll out some JUCO All-American and an in-house sophomore at quarterback that apparently gave him a run for his money at the job in fall. So I'm not super worried about them. Interestingly enough, Jalen Buckley did not hit the transfer portal. 700 yards, 9 touchdowns last season. He's solid. But if you have 2 QBs, you have no QBs. I was wrong when I said UNLV could do it with 2 QBs. They obviously had no QBs and are going right back to the drawing board. Stoolie, I'm taking Sparty laying 10.5 in the first half on this one. I think they're going to come out strong. It is a game that you need to kind of flex your muscles a little bit. An in-state opponent. They've had some really rough non-conference games over the last few years. I think they started out on the right foot at 10.5. What say you for Sparty?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too. Western Michigan, last year, they were a really run-heavy team, and Michigan State was a top 50 unit against it. I saw a stat. It was Western Michigan they were like 6 or 7-0 when they ran for 195 or more, and when they didn't, they were 0-6 or 0-7 or whatever. So They're really relying on the ground game, and Michigan State's defense, particularly really good at stopping that. So yeah, and Childs, he looked all right last year. Had I forget what game they were on the goal line. He threw a pick, and then the season kind of spiraled after that. But whole nother year in the system. You get your top guy back. You're going against a team that wants to run the ball, and that's where Michigan State's defense was the best at last year. So It would be Michigan State or nothing for me. I think maybe Western Michigan can maybe hang close a little bit, but at some point, Sparty's going to start putting it on them once they start stopping that ground game and making them a one-dimensional offense. So give me Sparty in this one. I'll probably just go full game just because I think maybe Western Michigan in state going against Big Brother there, one of your big brothers. I think they might have a little bit something early, a little bit of juice, but at some point Michigan State's going to figure it out and just stop them. I have no faith in this Western Michigan passing game. So, Sparty full game is how I would play this. I might fire on it. I know I don't have too many for week one. I want to throw a little bit more out there. So this one's definitely circled for me.
Yeah, respectfully, Western's got like 5 or 6 big brothers in that state. So it's definitely tough times for Western Michigan. Could be really tough times for Michigan State if they were to somehow lose this game. I don't even know what would happen. Moving down the line as far as games go, let me get back to our main list here for games. I'm going to be moving over. Kennesaw State is catching 18 against Wake Forest. I don't have a bet in this one, but we do have some interesting storylines as longtime coach Dave Clawson is out at Wake Forest. Jake Dickert is making his way in from Wazoo. The slow mesh is officially dead. Sam Hartman made that popular a few years ago with this offense. There it is. 17.5 at the moment. Total is 51. Looking on the other side, still looking at Wake Forest, rather. It's going to be more of a traditional spread. Their offensive coordinator, Rob Ezel, comes by way of South Alabama. South Alabama, you may now remember, Gio Lopez, UNC's quarterback, he was down there. So they had a lot of success. I don't know. It's hard to say. Wake Forest is one of those programs that you never think about. They had their little bit of fun with Sam Hartman and company, but I think Wake is borderline dead. We'll see if Jake Dickert can pull him out from the grave.
Yeah, I mean, Kennesaw, what a team last year. Offensively horrible. Watching that team play football. It was really painful. So you cannot get any worse than they were last year. At least I hope not. They were bad. I mean, both teams, ton of transfers. You got Wake Forest coach, I forget his name. He's gone now after a while. So, I mean, now you got a new system, new head coach. We'll see how it goes. I kind of like the under in this. Very disgusting, but a Kennesaw under. But both offenses and defenses, a whole lot of new transfers. I think the offense will take longer to adjust than the defense. And then you got Wake Forest with a new head coach. I like the under, but this is definitely not a game that I have circled to make any bets on. I mean, betting a Kennesaw under, especially after last year, is basically just a donation, it seems like. So I'll sit back and watch. If both offenses look horrible, maybe I'll look to play something next week potentially. But it would be under or nothing, but 99% sure it's going to be nothing for me in this one.
Well, I can tell you the only reason that total is sitting north of 50 is because of that OC coming by way of South Alabama. South Alabama last year, they were 30 in points per drive. That offense hums if they can get it going. So there's a lot of ifs as we go into that one. But, hey, it's week 1 of college football. There's ifs all over the place. Moving down the line, Appalachian State and the Clit 49ers. New coaches on both sides. That's kind of the storyline. We talked about Tim Elvin before, comes from Charlotte via Ohio after a MAC championship. And then we get Dowell Loggins to revamp the App State program. He's a longtime NFL assistant. App State, fun fact, the winningest college football program that has never reached a college football playoff. They lose Joey Aguilar. He jumped ship to go play quarterback at Tennessee. So there's a lot of work cut out on him. I don't really have an opinion. App State right now, that line is sitting down at 5. I had it at 6.5. So that thing getting tighter and tighter. Uh-oh. Is that out of there? That's out of there. Tie game. Yeah. Oh, no, we're down 1. Son of a bitch.
There's Eric Fetty.
Oh, you hit the money sign rounding first base. That you don't see that much anymore. But yeah, App State, Charlotte. I mean, the total is holding true at 49.5. Anything on your side for that game?
Well, just a side note, Diamondbacks bullpen's absolutely horrendous. So let's get some late runs for the crew here. But I have way more faith in App State than Charlotte. I know Charlotte lost some key defensive players and offensive. I think a running back or something they've lost. So they'll have to figure some things out. But App State's been a perennial, just good team. Always have been, well, for a while now, and
just consistent.
They're consistently good every single year. So I have more faith in them figuring anything new out than I do Charlotte losing players, and just team hasn't been that amazing. Line is moving towards them. That's a little weird. Sharp's looking to potentially just be fading App State, which I want no part of. It would be App State or nothing. It is a road game, first game of the season. So that does suck, but I just think App State's just the better team year in, year out. I think they'll be able to figure it out with this coaching staff too. So it would be App State or nothing, but I'll have nothing in this game.
100%. Let's keep it rolling. Bethune-Cookman at FIU. It's like we're playing college basketball. Nothing on me. Easy skip. I couldn't even find a line for it. Did I find it? No, I didn't even find one in here. Wagner in Kansas. Kansas laying 46.5. Total is 56.5. Like I said earlier in the show, watched Jalon Daniels. Is it Jalon Daniels? Do they hit the hard ah? Because it's just spelled weird.
It's obviously not. I think it's Jalen. That's what I've heard from people. Who knows?
Right. I heard Jalen on the broadcast. He's been around for 6 years. Fun fact, he's going to go down with his junior season lasting 3 years, throwing for 5,000 yards and rushing for 1,000 with 50 combined touchdowns in his 3 junior years. That guy knows how to play the game. Okay, so nothing for Cookman and FIU, nothing for Kansas Wagner. I don't know if you saw Kansas' new stadium. Pretty sick.
I did. It looks pretty nice.
People shitting on it for being half done. Apparently don't know how construction works, where there are levels.
Vanderbilt's been working on their stadium for 10 years. So
Vandy's tough. Did you watch the SEC show? Any given Saturday? Do you watch the SEC?
Oh, yeah.
I thought they'd talk about it. They didn't talk about it. They obviously don't.
It's old news at this point.
It is.
That Kansas game, that's a huge number.
Massive.
For Kansas. I mean, they have Missouri on deck too. I mean, they could win this game 47-0, 48-0. I'm not betting this game, but also, you think Jalon Daniels is going to play the whole game when they're 49-point favorites?
Absolutely
probably not.
Not with Missouri looming.
No, maybe you take a Kansas first half, team total first half or something. They just come out, just throttle them, and then play their second and third stringers the second half. But gun to my head, full game, I'd go Wagner, but I ain't doing that. I would look more towards Kansas first half, honestly.
Sure. No, I don't hate that. I think Daniels is going to be short in, out, got the work you need to get done last week. This week, you got Wagner. So, no, totally agree. Illinois, the Fighting Illini, it is out to 45. It's actually tightened up a little bit. I had it at 46.5. Total is 63.5. So when I looked at this, it was 43.5 and 63.5, which tells me, the books tell me that Western's going to score 13 points.
Yeah.
No, they're not, but you can't get team totals with FCS schools for some reason. But yeah, everybody's super high in Illinois, preseason number 12. Altmaier, probably the best Illinois quarterback since Juice Williams, probably. You got to think so. Yeah. Everybody
minus that Purdue game last year where they blew, but
right. No kidding. The Purdue game was an ultimate stinker. It'll be interesting to see if they can be this year's Indiana. That's what people are projecting them as. But even though Indiana thinks that they're going to be Indiana again. So I'll talk about that more on Friday when we go through week 1, a little bit deeper on Saturday. But no, I have no action in this one. If I could bet the WIU team total, if anyone wants to book me that, hold on. Can I bet it on Bet Openly? I mean, it's never going to fill.
I just looked on my book. I couldn't find a team total because I was the same thing. I was like, Western Illinois lucky to score 7 or 10 points in this game.
Yeah, no team total available on Bet Openly. Not super surprising. But yeah, I think we're both in the same boat there. Now, we've talked about a lot of insignificant games. Let's talk about what probably is the number 1 rated game for this little Thursday, Friday stint. Auburn is going to Baylor, which is kind of a sick, oh boy, get in the gap.
Double, baby.
Double season.
Did you see Cheerios starting his rehab this week, too?
Is he in Appleton or is he in Nashville?
I think Nashville. I think he's coming back Friday or Saturday projected.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Just glazing our Brewers over here. So let's talk Auburn. Let's talk Baylor. This thing 2.5 points in favor of the Auburn Tigers. Total sitting just under 60. I mean, Trev, this thing comes down to how much you like Jackson Arnold, right? I mean, it's how you kind of perceive Jackson Arnold to be. Now, turnover issues be gone. They could light this scoreboard the fuck up. They have their receiving core of Cam Coleman and Georgia Tech transfer Eric Singleton, who is everybody believes top 5 receiver in the country. I would say outside of Carnell Tate and Smith up at Ohio State, probably the best receiving core, or at least duo that you got. Baylor, interesting situation. I'll be honest, there was a point last year, Stoolie, I thought David Aranda was coming home. I thought things were shaping up from our standpoint and Baylor's standpoint that he was coming home. But then he went from a dead man walking to being a game away from the Big 12 title. The Bears lost 4 of their first 5 games to FBS schools, and that means Aranda had lost 17 out of his last 20 to FBS schools. That's tough, but then something clicked. They won 6 straight games, gave up a game shy of the Big 12 championship. They have a really good backfield combo. Sawyer Robinson at quarterback, Bryson Washington, at running back. The offense put up 59, 38, 37, 49, 20, 45, 31 down the stretch. Took their points per game from 28 to just a hair under 40. However, the inevitability of what happened in the Texas Bowl loss to LSU was looming. Now, Wisconsin fans, again, we know Aranda all too well. He is a defensive-minded head coach, and he's a hell of a defensive-minded head coach. However, Stoolie, this is the one that's interesting to me. In their conference games in September and October, when the weather could not help the Baylor Bears, they allowed more than 35 points per game. They were 116th in pass coverage and had the 111th ranked pass rush. They lose their top 2 corners and they lose their top 2 edge guys. It's bad. It's a lot of new faces. I'm not sure how much better they can be with a new scheme. I've got Auburn money line. I got Auburn money line at -130 on Bet Openly. My last note, why in the world would a team with an unproven transfer quarterback be favored on the road first game of the season against a team who's considered to be a contender in the Big 12? That's why I am where I'm at. So I've got Auburn to win outright. I don't like lame 2.5 points. What do you think in this one? I just talked a lot, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, Baylor giving up all those points, but losing those 2 corners and edge rushers, it might actually be a positive because those guys were definitely bad down the stretch.
I agree.
It's probably a positive in the end of it. But I mean, you got Baylor here, primetime game at home, national TV. I'm on Baylor here. I think they get this done. Both offenses, I think, can light it up. It's just a matter of which defense is going to actually show up and make that final stop. I mean, maybe an over is not even a bad look here either. Sure. Just given that both defenses not something you want to write home.
60, you know that thing's going to be 60 points by game time.
Oh yeah, I mean a Big 12 over usually can't go wrong in those.
Right.
Betting, I tried a few Big 12 unders last year, and those just failed miserably. So
I did too. I thought Oklahoma State was bad enough to be a team to go for unders, and then it turns out they're so bad that the other teams will hit them themselves.
Definitely brutal, but yeah. I like Baylor here with the money line. I mean, if I was catching 3, I'd play the points, but at that price, I would just take Baylor personally. I think both offenses will be just fine. Baylor, I think their defense will be improved. It can't be any worse given what they those guys that left. I know you want some continuity and rebuild things, with the same players in the same system, but I think it can't be any worse. So you got a primetime game at home, catching points. I think this is a game Baylor shows up for. And you said it, they're slated to be contenders. So, I mean, if you're going to contend, you got to win this big game at home because you're going to have plenty of big games. So, hell of a test for both teams. Defenses to start off, and I think the offenses are going to light it up. So, I don't hate an over, but I'm leaning more towards Baylor money line personally.
This is one that's caught my eye. So, Auburn, I talked about it, has 2 wide receivers that everybody in the world knows about. They've got this dude. I believe it's Heradio. It's a tough one. But anyways, Fields is their slot guy. He's 3-1 to score a touchdown. Jackson Arnold does not push the ball down the field, period. I think he could be a anytime touchdown guy. But yeah, I do like Auburn in this situation. It is taking a huge roll of the dice on Jackson Arnold not being dog shit. But yeah, I think you can't really, you could, in like a lot of these games, you could talk me into both ways. So Stoolie and I on different sides of that one. But I think if we were getting 3 points, I think we'd be in the same boat. So moving right along, the probably second biggest game of Friday is going to be the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets going on the road. They are headed to Boulder. Boulder's going to be a fucking scene, I bet. They're going to have everybody out. It's going to be a whole new but whole new group of players. Obviously, Shador gone, Hunter gone. They've got 4 new receivers. They're apparently going to play defense at Colorado this year, which is interesting. But, dude, I'll tell you what. People have been so high on Tech, I almost want to take Colorado out of spite. I mean, I get it. Haynes King is great. But, dude, he's losing. He lost his number one. His number one is playing 700 miles away at the exact same time. He's playing simultaneously. So Haynes King, it's tough. But with Colorado, we can speculate all they want. New defensive scheme, new talent via the portal, a quarterback who's making the jump from G5 to P4. And, oh, yeah, by the way, you're going to replace maybe the most dynamic football player that college football's ever seen. Yeah, no pressure. It's tough for me. I'm not buying into the Tech hype, but I do not feel confident in anything that I'm seeing with Colorado. What are your thoughts on this one, man? Right now it's sitting 4.5. It hasn't really moved. 52-point total. You can get Buffalo's almost 2-1 on the money line. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of like Buffalo too, or Colorado here too. I mean, Dion had the whole cancer thing in the offseason. Yep. Now he's, I think he's good now. I think he's clean. So, given it's a huge game too, under the lights in Colorado, you got the elevation to help you out here too. I think it's a spot Colorado gets up for. I know they lost Shador and all this other stuff, but I mean, you still got some like NFL coaches on that roster that are,
dude, Warren Sapp's running the defense.
Yep, the defensive line. Yeah, those guys should be nasty.
Biggest chew in his mouth you've ever seen. Those boys love their chewing tobacco. No, the one thing that I thought was really interesting is if you believe that there's going to be some throwing of the football, which both of these teams do, each quarterback, if you think they will throw more than one touchdown, is plus money right now and bet openly to do so via the props. I kind of like that. But yeah, it's tough. It's going to be tough for me to get behind Georgia Tech. I've never been a huge fan of Haynes King. Obviously, they've got the little bit of history with the Florida State. Do we call it an upset in week 0 last year? I don't think we can actually call it that because we all saw how Florida State ended up. But yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting one. I was going to look too at the team total. Yeah, I mean, if you believe in Colorado, 25.5, and it's plus 128, I think the Georgia Tech under 30.5 is a good spot. It is minus 140. But yeah, I think it's a lot of question marks. It's hard to pick this game. I think that's the biggest thing. If anyone's telling you definitive answers on just about any game this weekend, they are a snake oil salesman because it's college football, man. You and I go through it in college basketball. Up until Feast Week, it's a fucking crapshoot. And even during Feast Week can be a crapshoot. So, I mean,
big time.
It's we're kind of in the same spot right now for college football that we'd be in college basketball sitting in early November. So 2 games before we get out of here. Not much.
I will say,
yeah, go ahead.
I do kind of like Haynes King rush yards.
Where's he at?
I mean, that 43, so over 42.5. I mean, you said it. Colorado, the defense was a struggle last year. I think they'll be better this year, but are they going to be better out the gate? Who knows? Hank King, rush guy. I mean, he had 14 carries. I mean, to end the season, he had 11, 24, 8, 20, 11, 12, 14. I mean, he runs the ball plenty. And I think he'll have a good day over 42.5. I mean, college, you got to factor in sacks and whatnot. Those do take away your rush yards instead of pass yards. So that could screw you. But I mean, this guy's, I mean, he's had longs of 14, 17, 30, 20, 26, 28, 26, 21. When he busts runs, like he busts them. So I like that over 42.5 rush yards for Haynes King. Probably the most in this game, to be honest.
I like that. And now that you're actually talking about that, I pulled it up on the screen to our right. It's the Haynes backfield. We didn't even talk about Jamal Haynes. I'm looking to see Jamal Haynes, man. He's 1,000 yards, well, almost 1,000 yards last year, basically 1,000 yards last year. 70.5. I mean, that is a lot of respect for a Colorado defense that could not stop a nosebleed. Oh, look at
Is Warren Sapp suiting up, or why is that?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, dude. Why is Jamal Haynes? I mean, last year, this is his totals: 75, 84. And then he does a stretch of 35, 19, 25. Then it's 128, 170. And then it's 15, 47, 83, 36. Man, he is boomer bust, 91, 136. I feel like we got to take Jamal Haynes.
I like them both. I think they can just run free on them.
I think do we parlay the Haynes boys? Do we do a Haynes parlay for rushing yards?
I don't hate that. You know, I'll probably single them both, but I don't hate.
I'm gonna make a graphic of Haynes underwear and put those guys on there. I swear to God, I'll do it. I got way too much fucking time on my hands. I don't care about my job. Just kidding. If anyone's listening, just kidding. Anyways, no, that's definitely good stuff. Again, it's probably the second most intriguing game this weekend, second or third, depending how you fall. But before we get out of here, two more games. The one I actually wanted to touch on, don't really have anything for the late game on Friday night, Central Michigan and San Jose State. But I do want to talk about UNLV and Sam Houston. I do got to eat my words a little bit. That was the game where I was so wrong last weekend. UNLV comes out against Idaho State, puts themselves in a 10-point hole, eventually climbs themselves out of it just barely. And as I predicted, we learned nothing in the quarterback battle. It's so funny. You get Alex Orji, great drive all the way down the field, immediately fumbles on the goal line, has to sit down for almost a whole quarter. So it was just kind of rough. The UNLV defense is atrocious. They let the Bengals do whatever they want, run, pass, didn't matter. Sam Houston, kind of what we expected in their week 0 loss to Western Kentucky. Again, we got Phil Longo, who's running the show at Sam Houston. They held leads in both the second and third quarter, put up nearly 400 yards, but it didn't matter because, dude, they gave up 500 yards and 41 points. So kind of what we thought we'd get out of a Phil Longo team. I'm opting for no action at this point. I do lean over. The total is 61.5. Anything for you in that UNLV game or the Central Michigan San Jose State game before we get out of here?
Yeah, it would be over. I mean,
over.
You went over at UNLV, let Idaho State run roughshod on them. I think Idaho State's a little bit better of a team than Sam Houston, but Sam Houston offense still put up almost 400. And they put up 24 points, so it wasn't anything great, but they went 2 of 14 on third downs. Have to imagine that that regresses to the positive, especially against this UNLV defense. And on the other side, Sam Houston gave them 11 of 19 for third down. So they couldn't stop anything. And this UNLV offense can do stuff their defense can't. I think Sam Houston's going to be able to put up points here too. I mean, if Sam Houston puts up another 24, 21, I think this game still goes over. But UNLV couldn't stop a nosebleed either. So I like the over. I think this is just classic college, just back and forth. We just see points galore in this one. So give me the over in this one. I'll more than likely 99% be on the over here.
Nice. So you hear that. I mean, we're thinking over in the UNLV Sam Houston game. We're thinking the Haynes boys are going to run a little wild on Colorado. I'm just kind of running through what we talked about. We are split on the Auburn Baylor. You are leaning Baylor. I am going with Auburn. Nothing as far as these games. App State, Charlotte. Do you have anything in that one? I forget.
No, I leaned App State, but nothing in the end of it.
You got it. I've got Sparty laying 10.5 in the first half against Western Michigan. You like Sparty full game in that situation. I think by the end of the conversation, we were both on the side of Tarleton State, getting 2 touchdowns at Army. the Nebraska-Cincinnati game. I think we're both on Nebraska, kind of leaning Nebraska.
I like Cincy. I haven't fully
Cincy?
dived in, but I'm liking Cincy initially.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, and like my last note, it feels like Nebraska in the points, but I'm not convinced. So, yeah, I'm going to probably lay off that one completely. Miami and Wisconsin, you like the Badgers two ways. You like the Badgers 17.5, and then it was team total Miami under.
Yeah, 10.5. It was plus 110. So, I mean, like,
it's a great number.
I just, if Miami, Ohio somehow runs, does something on this offense and puts up, 11 or more, so be it. But I just don't see it given what they have back and what they're going to be going up against with that beef we finally have back on the defensive line here.
The beef.
No Hunter Waller, though, does suck.
Yeah, Waller's going to be a tough one to replace. But Buffalo, Minnesota, you kind of like the Bulls in the first half, possibly sprinkling the money line against
5-1
Gophers. Anything above that, nothing there. We talked about Elon and Duke a little bit. Elon catching a lot of points in that one. We talked about Illinois, I think, as well. They're laying a lot of points with games looming on the schedule. But other than that, Akron, how could I forget Akron? Plus 5.5. You're starting to lean Wyoming as that game gets tighter and tighter. I would not bet that if it gets down to 5. I grabbed it at probably the last second that I would have taken it. UCF, you liked UCF against Jacksonville State, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think Scott Frost has got to come back and
Perkins
get back to his national championship ways.
I thought they were going to actually test Perkins again. But other than that, Eastern Carolina, NC State, you liked Eastern Carolina, no?
Yeah, sprinkle a little bit on the money line too. These two teams hate each other. This is going to be a tight game.
Nope, love that. Think I'm going to be leaning that way as well. We talked about Bowling Green getting out and possibly early against Lafayette. Rutgers and Ohio, we are both leaning Ohio in that game, and I've also got Ohio quarterback Parker Navarro anytime touchdown. And then Boise State, South Florida. Stoolie's going under. That was the first game that we talked about. I don't hate your reasoning on that. I just don't want to be caught betting South Florida unders because I know that offense is going to try to go a million miles an hour for better or for worse. So, dude, that's it. We did it. 28 games here in the next 2 days. It is very much upon us. I appreciate you doing your homework and cramming in and being a good conversation. I'm sure we'll be talking very, very soon. I'm going to have Stoolie on once we get a little bit closer to basketball season. We will do a little bit of a basketball preview with one of our streams during football season and kind of double that up. But anything before you get out of here, want to plug anything that you're on? Obviously, your X account is Stoolie Picks, but you've been on a few different streams. What are you on these days?
Yeah, I do the Kyle Kerm show on YouTube. Do baseball. Probably the last night I'll be doing it for the year, or at least for a little while. Football season's upon us, so he's going to start leading in with that. So baseball services will be moving to the second half of that show, and I'm not staying up till 1:30 to do that. So catch me on there, and just great follow too. But Pump Fake Pod, our college basketball, starting Tuesday after Labor Day, we're going to start previewing. We're going to start previewing some conferences and whatnot, try to do 2, maybe 3 and get crazy. These lower end conference, the MAAC and all that good stuff. But
if you don't like mid-major basketball, don't turn in. This is for the absolute sickos like myself that loves this shit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, those Friday shows we do are good. They go a little long, about 3-4 hours, but grab a couple drinks and we have some fun and go over basically like 80% of the board for those big Saturdays. So get you prepped there. But I think we have a pretty entertaining guest potentially coming on at some point in September on that show. So that'll be interesting. Just stay tuned and follow us on Twitter and YouTube, Pump Fake Pod.
Oh, speaking of basketball, 2 things I wanted to pick your brain on. One, we talked about it in our preview show for college football. The Zags are moving to the new Pac-12. Yeah. So they are moving on up. But did you see the John Fanta news?
He's going to NBC.
Going to NBC.
I haven't fully looked into it, but is it that NBA? Is there college, or is that the Peacock game or something?
He's going to be on the sidelines for, I believe, the Peacock game, which is the Illinois game. So he's going to be doing sideline reporting for Illinois. live game look-ins from the studio as well. So yes, we are going to see plenty of John Fanta as we go forward. He said he's going to help with the NBA production. Very excited to see what NBA on NBC looks like. I know we were a little young to kind of remember the original NBA on NBC, but everything my old man's told me is that was just quality television. So hopefully they can recreate that. And God damn it, Stoolie, our Brewers are going to need to hit a rally here. Oh, that was fun.
Hey, they can do that. I mean, hey, most 4+ run innings in the majors, we got like 50 something. So
that's great.
This bullpen, we can go off at any time. But that John Fanta news, he better still be dabbling with the Big East because better than Fanta and St. John's
because of how it is. He's got the Big East, the Big 10, and double play ball. Fuck yeah, we're out of it. Oh, get out of the bases loaded. But no, he said, I don't know. Just go watch Fanta's Twitter.
I'll go check it out. Yeah.
He goes into it a little bit better than what I remember. But yes, the big news, John Fanta is moving to NBC. So, but yes, that was it. 90 minutes as we tried to do here at least once a week this week. We're doing it twice because on Friday, it is the roundtable. Myself, Gino, Eric. We got multiple Erics. It's going to be a hell of a night. So very, very excited. Stoolie, thank you so much for joining. We will talk shortly. I know we talk all the time, but we will be back on stream very, very shortly, my friend. I appreciate you.
Absolutely not a problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Good luck, everybody, on your first few games. We'll talk to you Friday night.